All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another live SEO support. I am, of course, by myself again today. Nick couldn't make this stream. I believe he had a meeting or something. But yeah, I'm here and I will be answering any kind of SEO questions you have for the next hour or so. But it might be a slow stream. I know we've been doing kind of these weird times. It's really early morning in America right now. It's like 6 a.m. Um, yeah, it's like 7 p.m. where I am. So yeah, gotta try to fit it in somehow, right? But yeah, if you got any questions at all, go ahead and ask them in the chat, and I will start getting to some other questions that we've already had building up. And yeah, see if I can help you guys out. Some referring domains aren't showing up after a 301 redirect. Others are showing though. It's been a month. Any ideas why? Yeah, so I'm pretty sure what this person is talking about is their backlinks are not showing up in like Ahrefs or SEMrush. And you see this, I see a lot of people ask about this, and I guess I used to be like this too when I first started SEO. But when you build backlinks, if the backlinks are indexed, you don't need to worry about it. They're going to show up in Ahrefs or SEMrush eventually, hopefully. And if they don't, it's on the crawler. It's not necessarily on the backlink. Sometimes it can signify that it's a little bit of a lower quality backlink because, like, for example, Ahrefs won't show everything, or maybe SEMrush won't either. But in general, it's really not something you need to worry about. So if you did the 301 redirect and a lot of your backlinks are showing up in Ahrefs, that's good enough. I would say the backlinks are passing over. The 301 redirect is in place, nothing to worry about there. Just go ahead and move on. Don't worry about it. And monitor the results after over a month or so, and just see what the results look like. What are your rankings doing? You don't need to go and look and say, oh, is this backlink showing up in SEMrush? Just say, is the 301 working or not? And you can measure if it's working or not if all of your keyword rankings are hopefully going up. Because, if you did a good 301 redirect and you used a good domain, then you should see pretty like noticeable results. 301 redirects are pretty much like the most powerful backlink quote hack that you could possibly do. You're essentially just taking all of one website's backlinks and transferring them over to your other website. Yeah, so I would just measure, are my rankings going up, or is my traffic going up? And if not, maybe the 301 was a dud. Yeah, and there can be a bunch of reasons for that, but we won't go into that now. Hopefully that helps. Mikey Moran says, got my first orders back from Sir Links a lot. Great work. Yeah, thanks, man. Glad you are liking our service. And if you guys aren't aware, what's today's date? 6/27. Okay, so we've got about 3 days left for our guest post sale. Use code GP12 to get 10% off guest posts. Yeah, for the next like few days, and there'll be a new sale starting next month. Any questions at all, guys, go ahead and drop them in the chat, or else this might end up being a short stream. It doesn't matter if you think it's a stupid question or not. You gotta have something to fill the time here, right? And just want to help you guys out. I have a site that has lost site-wide rankings in the past week since the spam update. I've reviewed the spam policies closely and can only see one possible issue. We use pretty links to redirect our affiliate links. This seems like may go against Google's spam policies, but I believe it is very common and safe practice. Has anyone else seen this trend or have an opinion on link redirecting? To clarify, these are not linked. They are 301 redirects. Thanks in advance. Yeah, so as far as affiliate links go, basically everybody 301 redirects their affiliate links. It'll be something like, you know, if we had a affiliate link for say Surfer SEO, instead of just being Surfer's affiliate link straight into our article, maybe we'd do something like sirlinksalot.co/recommend/surfer, right? So it just looks like a much more natural link. It doesn't look like an affiliate link. And this is pretty much a affiliate best practice as far as I know. Um, so yeah, I definitely would not consider that. Uh, I made a video recently on the spam update, and the two big things I would look at in the spam update if you did get hit by it is either going to be spam content or spam links. Uh, for and I would rather get hit by the spam links part, because if it's spam links, I feel like what they do is they just devalue your links. So maybe your rankings, maybe your traffic was up here, then you see an age drops, your traffic just kind of goes down, and then it would like flatten off maybe after, it just depends like what percentage of your links that Google was counting, and now they're not going to count anymore. I feel like that's how the spam updates work, at least for as far as links go. It's not like a penalty. It's more like we're just not giving you credit for those anymore, so we have to move you down like that. Um, and so in that case, the fix is of course just starting to build quality links again, and you can regain those positions. I feel like it doesn't work like an algorithmic penalty at all, or like a manual penalty. It's not like a hole you have to dig yourself out of. It's just they just kind of reevaluated your position. And then the second thing that most people get themselves in trouble with, as far as the spam updates, at least in the past year or so, is content spam. Tends to have to do with a lot of it's like AI content spam, but it doesn't necessarily have to be AI content spam. I guess we can pull up the spam guidelines real quick. Google spam. Here we go. Just give me 1 second while I pull this up for you guys on the other screen. All right. Yeah, so cloaking doorways, expired domain abuse, hacked content, hidden text. A lot of this stuff is like really old school, and a lot of it's like super like black hat stuff. Link spam, of course, we just talked about. Machine generated traffic is interesting. It's one I'm gonna have to be keeping an eye on because I know a lot of people are starting to play around with CTR software. Um, Here we go. Scaled content abuse. So this is probably I feel like the most dangerous component of these spam updates right now. And let's just read over some of the bullet points. Using generative AI tools or similar tools to generate pages without adding value for users. So what they're literally saying here is AI content with no human editing. And not just human editing and changing the words around, but human editing and actually adding value. Again, you can search our channel for more information on that, but I like to look at things from an information gain perspective. If your article has all of these same entities and attributes as all of the other top ranking articles, you have generic content. This is how Google measures it mathematically. But if you're adding in new entities, which is essentially nouns, people, places, things, or ideas, or attributes, which is essentially adjectives, if you have unique entities and attributes, then your content will be seen as more unique. So again, can't really recommend publishing straight up AI content. However, um, I also can't say that it's not working, right? Because there's still plenty of example of sites that are working just fine with straight up AI content. Um, Next up, scraping feed, search results, or other content to generate many pages where little value is provided to users. So I think this is essentially talking about programmatic SEO, but it's programmatic SEO that doesn't really provide anything useful. But I think you can still do programmatic SEO in a very like good way that where you're creating a unique page that adds a lot of value to people that no other page really has. So, but yeah, I kind of doubt this is the issue with this one. Um, this one, number three, stitching or combining content from different web pages without adding value. So this is basically what people used to do before AI tools came out. We would, or what SEOs used to do. We would look at the top 3 or 5 rankers for a keyword, take their articles, look at all of their headings, say, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to take all the headings from this one, then look at number 2. Anything that this one didn't have, I'll just include those, and you just basically put them all together, and then that's your new article, and boom, it's better than everyone else's because it's just all of them combined essentially. So, they're also including here, it doesn't have to be like AI content. If you're doing it the old school SEO way, it's the same idea to them in Google's mind. And the way you get around this is the same way you get around using AI tools when you're editing, is adding new attributes, new entities into your article, saying new things, talking from your own first-hand experience, you're demonstrating your expertise rather than just having the same thing as everyone else, but the words being changed up or the order a little bit because it's really just saying the same thing, right? Um, I doubt it's this one, creating multiple sites. No. And then the last one, creating multiple pages where the content makes little to no sense. It's talking about like gibberish or like lorem ipsum content, just used to manipulate the rankings. So, most people that got hit by spam update, I would say it's either links or content. Content's definitely a little bit trickier. Links, I feel like it's easy to understand. You're just not getting credit for some stuff anymore. But if I were you, I would take a look into content and yeah, let us know like what you think about what's going on. Let us know like how you did your content. If you think it's generic or not, and kind of have to go from there, but really hard to say without seeing your website or anything like that. Hopefully that helps. Let's see. Mikey. Like always, guys, sale this month. GP12 is the code to get 10% off guest posts. Lasts for 3 more days, 3 or 4 more days. What do you recommend? I'll start that one over. What do you recommend after publishing a blog post to get it the most SEO exposure quickly? So, I'm not sure what you mean by SEO exposure, but SEO is ranking on Google. So if your question is how to get it to rank on Google quickly, then I mean, you're essentially just asking how to do SEO at that point, which is a really big question, right? Um, if you want to get traffic to your article quickly, there's more ways you can get traffic to your article that are much faster than SEO. SEO is the slow play, but it pays off in the long run because it's just there forever, right? It doesn't work like social media or something where thing comes in these like spikes where it's a lot of attention and it gets zero attention after a while. You rank on Google, it's always there when people search for that keyword. Um, so, if you're just looking for quick traffic, I would look into social media. Which social media you use is going to depend highly on where your audience is. For example, some niches that are more visual have a very high presence on Pinterest. So you could look in how to do Pinterest, getting traffic from there, or Instagram. If your audience is like older or more general, then like Facebook could be the play, for something like pets or whatever. Um, so yeah, just depends where you're going to be at. YouTube is another good thing, but of course you're going to have to make videos. But the good thing about YouTube is you can start driving traffic insanely fast or getting like views insanely fast on YouTube if you're making videos that people actually want to watch. I started my own YouTube channel recently, and where the content's a little different from the Sir Links-a-Lot channel, and I started getting, I think it was like my fourth or fifth video or something had like 8,000 views. And I didn't even promote it anywhere. YouTube started giving me views because you can just get traffic from it so quick. So, you could make an article, then you could make a video on the same topic as the article and really try to drive the viewers from the video to that article while they're watching, have it in the description, of course. You could also get on stuff. I guess you consider it social media, but you could use like Reddit or you could use a free parasite like LinkedIn or Medium, LinkedIn Pulse, of course, where you post the article, not just a normal LinkedIn post. LinkedIn Pulse articles or Medium. These can rank a lot faster on Google than a website with a normal article. Could take a little bit of link building, could take some interlinking from other Medium posts or other LinkedIn Pulse articles that you've done. Yeah, those can be really fast. But if you're just meaning about ranking your article and getting SEO, getting it to rise in the rankings quickly after that, um, you know, there's not really there's not really a fast answer for you. SEO, like I said, it's the slow play. You're going to need to do link building over time. This takes a long time to do. You're going to need to grow your topical authority, which is posting many articles like on the same kind of subject. For example, on our website, sirlinksalot.co, we put out a ton of articles on link building, right? Like every article we put on Sir Linksalot is something about like link building, and they're all covering different aspects of it. So like how to build guest posts or niche edits versus link insertions, which one is better, or how many links can you build per day and be safe, just all these hundreds of articles that are about link building. And when you do this, you're showing Google that you are an expert on this and they are more likely to trust you and rank your articles. That's not the only thing. You still need backlink authority. You still need good user engagement metrics. You don't want people coming to your article saying, hey, this sucks, or it's not giving me the answer I wanted, so I'm just going to go back to the search results, find another one. Um, but yeah, it's gonna, it takes some time for sure if you actually want traffic from Google coming into that article. Um, One of the biggest hacks, which we just talked about on the previous question, is 301 redirects, but it's kind of a little bit of an advanced tactic where you basically take all of one website's backlinks and transfer them over to your other website. But you need or I really recommend using a very relevant website when you're doing this. I generally prefer age domains instead of expired because I feel like you have less chances of trouble. Um, but yeah, not really a super short hack for ranking that article on your website, but there are some kind of little tricky things you can do, right? Hopefully that helps. Big question. Any other questions at all, guys? Go ahead and drop them in the chat. I've got some questions here in my backlog, but if y'all don't keep asking questions, I'm gonna have to leave early. I think I've only got like 4 or 5 left here. So yeah, doesn't matter if you think it's the question is stupid or not. Just happy to help you guys out, right? That's what I'm here for an hour. 4 million backlinks, 27,000 referring domains. Surely this would do more good than bad to my site. I'm sure it's been spammed out, but the same niche and has a lot of follow backlinks in the RD. 301 thoughts. Okay, so yeah, he's talking about a domain that he wants to 301 redirect. I guess he's saying because it has 27,000 referring domains but 4 million backlinks, something looks weird. And you're right, something does look weird. I mean, but generally, even one website or one or two or three websites could really skew the metrics like this. Um, so basically what's happened is that there's probably a few large websites, maybe a handful of large websites that this website got a footer or a sidebar link from. And as you know, the footer and the sidebar is on every page of the website, right? And the footer and it's the same, it doesn't change. Because maybe the recommended post change depending if they have the widget and the sidebar, whatever. But really, for most websites, the footer and the sidebar is exactly the same on every page. So if the website has 1,000 URLs or 400,000 URLs, and you have a link to your website in that footer, it's going to count as 400,000 backlinks, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing either. Footer link building and sidebar link building used to be it's kind of an old tactic and people used to abuse it because it actually worked a lot better in the past, but now the way Google works is they have like diminishing returns as far as getting links from the same website, right? um, but meaning each other link you get from the same website's not worth as much, or else you could just have one huge website link to your website a million times and you'd rank above everyone, right? So obviously that's easy to game. um, and another thing is footer and sidebar links are generally not contextual and they're not going to be related to the URL or the article or the page that they're showing on. So you get a bunch of links that end up not being relevant essentially. Um, so yeah, is it a problem? Not necessarily. Looking at that alone, I would instantly think, it's just got some links from some websites like that on it. Doesn't mean that it's bad though. They could still be good. What I'd want to do is first go into Wayback Machine and look at the history of the website, make sure that it, basically wasn't hacked or anything, or like used as a PBN or used as like something crazy that just looks really like scammy and seedy, right? Because then you could have major problems and it just might not work for you at all, or even cause you some problems, make your rankings go down if you 301'd it. Um, and next up, you're going to want to actually go do some deeper analysis. When you go into Ahrefs and you see these numbers at the top, you'll see the RD referring the DR, the number of backlinks, the traffic, all of this stuff. These are quick numbers that can give you a starting point, but it's only a starting point. If you actually want to analyze a website to see if it's going to be good or not to help you, then you can't just look at these numbers because every one of those numbers can be manipulated and none of these numbers mean anything by themselves. So especially for when you're 301ing, because you're essentially going to be transferring all of these backlinks to the new website, what you really want to do is inspect the backlinks. The first thing you could do is just start with the anchor text. Go look at the anchor text profile. Does it look spammy or not? Are they slamming exact match anchors? Are they, does it have a bunch of like porn and Viagra stuff in there? Does it have a bunch of non-relevant or foreign anchors when it shouldn't? So Anchor is definitely a good place to start, and then go look into backlinks. See if the backlinks are relevant or not. Turn on some filters. See how many of those backlinks are actually quality backlinks. How many of them are over DR10 and actually have more than 250 or 500 traffic going to the domain. And on a profile like this with 27K RD, 4 million, I bet if you put on that filter right there just for DR10 and traffic more than 500, I bet you'd cut it down to less than 1,000 instead of 4 million backlinks. Um, but yeah, just you have to use your brain a little bit, see what's going on, look at the history in Ahrefs as well, see if it looked like it got a penalty or something. Were there any sharp declines and it just wasn't when the domain expired. Try to figure out why the domain did expire. Why did they just let it go, right? If it's an expired domain. But I guess, of course, it could be an age domain as well. But yeah, analyzing a website for 301 redirects and buying domains is actually probably the hardest thing to do in SEO. It's why, companies exist like us that, you could go buy an expired domain or an age domain from us. We've got our hand-picked list because no one knows how to do it, right? It's hard to do. Uh, but yeah, hopefully that helps. Y'all got to ask more question, boys and girls. Let's be real, it's probably all boys in here, right? Get some water real quick. It's hard doing it without Nick here because I just got to talk nonstop. All right. Is Otis overpriced? As some of you probably know, Otis is a domain provider, which I guess fits nicely into what we were just talking about, 301 redirects. Um, and I will say that Otis, along with every other domain provider, including ourselves, is technically overpriced. What we're doing is providing a service, which is doing something that you don't know how to do and spoon feeding you and saying, here, this is a much better selection of domains. So you don't have to go look through the, hundreds of thousands of domains that are on auction or expired or whatever yourself, because you don't really know what to look for, right? Um, so if you know how to hunt for domains yourself, which like we were just talking about is an extremely hard thing to do, if you know how to do it yourself, then it's way cheaper to do it yourself, like a lot cheaper. But if you don't know how to do it yourself, then chances are you're going to end up wasting a lot of money and time trying to do it to yourself, unless you really learn how. But learning how could take honestly a really long time. Um, you know, Nick, Nick, my partner here at Sir Slot, Nick got me into SEO, or he's the reason I kind of started learning it, right? And Nick, has a PBN background where he learned how to hunt for domains and build PBNs from those domains. And so I got to learn from Nick. So it was like a big shortcut for me. I learned from Nick, but I also learned probably have to give credit to Greg over at OMG Machines as well, because his courses, and he was a big PBN guy too. And but yeah, so basically, it takes a long time to learn this stuff, and most people don't know how to do it right. Most people don't even know how to evaluate a quality backlink, much less an entire domain full of backlinks. So, it's hard to say if someone is overpriced or not. It just depends if they have a domain that is good for your project, it's relevant, and are you willing to pay that price? That this is the only way you can evaluate this type of thing. Maybe the domain costs 5K or 10K, but if it's a good domain with a clean backlink profile and it's highly relevant to what your niche is, then even getting that domain for 5 or 10K or whatever the Otis price is can be worth it. Because you don't just find domain, you don't just go and say, oh, I'm going to get that from somewhere else, right? There's only one of it. And the the other ones that are out there, if you go try to buy them at auction, it's competitive. People are bidding on these things. People that know what they're doing knows which ones are good, and so they're going to outbid you until you're going to be guessing yourself, oh, should I keep bidding more, or is this too much, or whatever. um, so you just have to kind of like factor that in, right? One way you could go about trying to kind of determine if it's worth the price for you or not is to take the domain, see how many good referring domains it has, and then divide the price by that number. And then you can find out basically what cost per backlink you're getting because you're going to, I mean, this is why you buy domains, is for that backlink juice, right? So um, when you do this, you'll know how much per link costs, and what you're going to see is it's going to be a lot less than if you were to go build like link insertions or guest posts, right? This will take a lot longer and a lot more money usually to build them new. Um, so yeah, you can just do that, but it's hard to say if someone's overpriced or not. And Of course, obviously, way cheaper if you're just gonna do it by yourself, but hopefully that helps. Let's see what else you got, Mr. Caleb. Do subdomains pass less link juice than regular domains? Example, archive.nytimes backlink for New York Times. Yeah, you want backlink, you want the backlink from, subdomains are considered separate domains. So yes, it's, in the URL, it'll still say .New York Times or whatever, but the subdomain is treated as a different domain than the root domain. So when you evaluate the power of the link coming from the subdomain, you need to put that into Ahrefs and make sure that Ahrefs is only counting the subdomain and not like all of the subdomains or all of the domains on it. Yeah, so, you know, a lot of times you'll see, there's a lot of like really crappy link building services out there. And one of the things that they do is they expect for people not to understand this. And they will essentially do what we call Web 2.0 spam, where they will, it's like, build backlinks Jimdo or Weebly or whatever, and they'll say, "Oh, look, all of these links are from like DR 80 plus domains, and they're only 25 cents each or something like that, right?" Um, but yeah, they're not actually from DR 80 domains; they're from DR 0 domains, and they have no power at all. But it's just what Web 2.0s are. I still like to use them from time to time for some like pillow linking, just to add a little diversity, add a little kind of randomness to my backlink profile. But I would definitely not consider them a high powered link at all. It would be like the lowest power that there is. But then you can beef them up with some backlinks, right? Um, yeah, hopefully that helps. Definitely want links on the root domain, or the subdomain can have some power to it, right? Just depends if it has its own backlinks and its own authority built to it. Any questions at all, guys? Go ahead and pop them in the chat. Looks like I've got about 25 minutes left, but I've only got 3 questions left here in my log. And if I finish these and y'all don't ask me more, I'm going to take off early. So I'm tired today. After Google's recent update, one of my websites drastically dropped in rankings. Now I'm planning to change the entire niche of the website and go for something completely different. Is this a good decision or a bad one? I want to delete the old content and publish new content in a different niche. Can you provide some information on whether I'm on the right path? No, you are on the wrong path. This is not going to work. Um, you know, just because you change the content on your website doesn't mean that Google is going to fall in love with you. And if anything, you're going to make things worse. So when I first got into SEO, I had this local SEO project where um, basically the client was trying to do something similar. He was doing one service and then he wanted to switch to something different, and they weren't related. Like I think one was auto detailing and the other was uh, pressure washing, like power washing, like your house or whatever, right? So these are two completely different things. And all it ended up doing was confusing the crap out of Google. Like Google didn't know what to do with it. Everything was having a hard time ranking. I think it basically the site rank for some auto detailing stuff, but it like would never let it rank for any of the pressure washing stuff. It was just super confused and had no idea what was going on. Um, and when you think about this, think about it from the domain perspective. A domain is more than just the content. A lot of how Google understands a domain are the backlinks that are going to the domain. So let's say you have a domain or a website about dogs, and it's been going for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, and you've got all of these backlinks going to your website about dogs, and then you change your content, and now it's about interior design or something or home renovations, but all of the backlinks say your website's about dogs. Like, what do you think that does to Google? Google's just like, what? It's just it's not something you can do. Um, so if you got hit by the recent update, I'm not sure if it's the spam update or like the core update, which has helpful content update rolled into it. Um, depending on what update you got hit by, it's going to depend on what you should do, but I would definitely not change the content. If you want to change to a different niche, start a different website. Would be your best bet. Whether that is fresh or on a relevant, expired, or aged domain, all are fine options. Um, but yeah, I would leave the content on this website and either figure out what you got hit by, figure out which update you got hit by and try to recover it, or just let it sit. And what you'll see happens a lot of the times if you just don't want to invest any more time in something because it got hit so hard and you're just unsure that it'll ever go back up again. If you just let things sit for a long time, a lot of times they just recover by themselves after like a year or something. It's not the answer that people want to hear, but if you can get a website to recover by going and working also on something different for a while and not investing any money, then I would say that's a win, right? But yeah, depends what update you got hit by. If you got hit by, the core update, it's probably kind of like a helpful content thing, or maybe and if maybe it depends on how your site was monetized. Maybe you're monetized with affiliate or ads. Google's just really hammering these sites right now. Um, but if you got hit by the spam update, I would say that's a lot easier fix. And I'd be looking at either content spam, whether that's AI generated or not, or backlink spam. And basically all of your backlink, maybe you just built a bunch of really bad backlinks and Google just devalued all of them. And if that happens, then it might not even be, it's not even an algorithm hit. You could literally just start building new backlinks and you could probably get your rankings back somewhat quickly because it doesn't really work the same way like an algorithmic penalty or like a manual action or something like that. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Don't try to change your site's niche. Two questions left, boys and girls. Any questions at all? Ask them in the chat. Ahrefs pricing is an absolute disgrace, especially for a tool providing inaccurate results. I'm done with them. Is there any cheap alternative to these greedy fellas? Um, yeah, there's a couple alternatives, but you know, I'm sorry, but Ahrefs is the best. No one likes to hear that, but I guess it just kind of depends on on who you are and like what your business is. If you've got a little tiny website and you're not making any money or making not much money at all, then maybe Ahrefs is a big investment for you. But you know, if I had to start from zero today, let's say I had a little bit of money in the bank or whatever, but I wasn't making any money with SEO, and I wanted to completely start over. Ahrefs would be the one tool that I would invest in. And I wouldn't do SEMrush. I would probably just go straight to Ahrefs because I know the power of Ahrefs. I know how good, I mean, you can just use it for everything. You can use it for content, you can use it for site audits, you can use it for analyzing your competitors, you can use it for stealing your competition's backlinks. They have by far the best backlink database than over all the tools. They're adding tons of functionality in every day. There's so much you can do to it and so many filters you can apply that it's just kind of it's like the one tool that I never would want to be without. And they actually did, well, I'm assuming maybe you already know this, but if we go and we look at Ahrefs pricing, they actually just removed their credit limits, which is kind of cool. So of course they got the cheap one here, and on the cheapest plan, you still have the 500 credits per month per user. Can't remember how much new credits cost. I think it was like $50 or $30. Um, let's see if we can find it real quick. Ahrefs credits pricing. Anyway, this is too hard to find right now. But yeah, I think, extra credit packs are only like 30 or $50 a month. So you could even start on the cheap plan. And if you have a small website, like if you're just like working on one website, not a big operation, not making much money, I think the light is pretty much all you need. Not really sure what light doesn't have though. It might be missing like some important features that I'm just not that I don't really know. Site Explorer. Looks like they don't have Content Explorer, so Content Explorer can definitely be good, especially for like link building or just finding new articles in your niche or whatever. Um, they do have Keywords Explorer. Looks like no batch analysis. Of course, I like using batch analysis a lot. SERP comparison is definitely useful, but not needed. Um, anyway, I feel like you can get a lot done with just this light one, and then add more credits if you needed to. Of course, my other two recommendations, if you just absolutely will not pay for Ahrefs, number one is SEMrush. Let's see if this is the right pricing page, but SEMrush isn't cheap either. Um, it looks like their smallest plan is 129 a month, which is the same as Ahrefs' smallest plan. But I think um, yeah, I'm not really sure. I haven't used SEMrush in a while, but I think their light plan might have like more of the features or whatever than the Ahrefs light plan does. Um, the real benefit before was Ahrefs didn't have, or SEMrush didn't have the credit limits, which now, of course, Ahrefs did away with, except for on these small ones. So maybe SEMrush should still be cheaper, but you're not going to be that much cheaper. I guess it just depends on what features you don't get with this one. And then the cheapest option I know is clicks.so. Um, this is made by a friend of mine that I met recently in a SEO conference in Vietnam. He actually used to work at Ahrefs. His name's John. I forgot to say his name. Jame. I mean, it's like Spanish. Jay. It looks like Jamie. Okay. I'm sorry, man. But anyway, this one is by far the cheapest one. Yeah, you can see like starting at like 25 bucks a month. Um, but and it does some similar stuff like you can do like your keyword research, you can look at websites like backlinks and stuff. But you have to understand, for the price, you're going to be missing a lot of features. So it really just depends what you need to do. But for this price, you could even just pay for a month, and then if you needed more, you could go up to one of the other ones that are going to be much more expensive, right? But yeah, Ahrefs is what you got to pay for. And the way, I like to think about it is, if you're building a house or whatever, there's no construction worker that's like, um, what tools am I going to use to build this house? I want the cheapest tools possible because the expensive tools that do a good job are overpriced. So I'm gonna buy like the worst tools that I can, and just you have to be able to like invest in your business a little bit and understand like what you can do with these tools and the ROI you're going to get from using them. So just kind of the way it is, right? Gotta spend money to make money. All right, guys, we got 14 minutes left and I only got one question left, so you better ask some questions fast or I'm gonna take off after this one. Actually, I might have a couple more. Hi all, I've been doing social media management for about 1.5 years. I have only landed one client so far. I am currently on Instagram only. Any advice on getting clients would be very helpful. Yeah, you can go everywhere else to try to get clients too, right? Why don't you get on Upwork and Fiverr or like any kind of like jobs really? I mean, those are the two big ones I would look at. Mainly Upwork, I guess, because I think Upwork tends to be a bit higher quality. But you could check out like Legit, Upwork, Fiverr, put profiles on all of those. Work on, in the beginning, do work for really cheap, like super cheap, just so you can build up some testimonials and build up some 5-star reviews and go from there. And then, maybe once you start making money, you could start playing around with, doing some paid ads, like you do paid Facebook, paid YouTube, paid Insta, paid wherever your audience is. You could do paid ads and see if the ROI is there on that, which it generally will be if you can have a high enough price to justify it. Um, you could also make video content. I don't know what kind of content you're making on Instagram, but if you were to make video content, I feel like video is like the best way to market yourself. You could just do a kind of like build in public type YouTube channel, and then you could repurpose that to shorts for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook for that short form video. Um, yeah, I feel like video is insanely powerful. Just do like build in public, like, hey, this is how I did this. This is how I increased this brand's views by this. Here's how to make good Facebook posts to, I don't know, increase your leads, whatever. Just, make content like this every single day, right? I feel like video is actually the best thing these days. It's so fast, but not everyone is willing to get on camera, or maybe some people just aren't good at it at all and are not willing to practice and get better. Um, yeah, and of course, having a website, getting some good testimonials or case studies together on your website that can really demonstrate work that you've done in the past. Um, yeah, hopefully that covers it. I mean, there's a video, the other job platforms like Upwork, probably the way that I would go for sure. All right, let's see if I can find anything else since you guys refused to ask me any questions today. Jeez, I got like 10 minutes left. I'll have to find some random questions real quick. Um, so apparently TikTok is testing out links in individual videos. How fast will SEOs ruin this? Uh, well, like this was the thing about TikTok, or like actually any kind of like short form video right now is so hard. So like even though you can put links in the TikTok videos, I feel like it's not going to be that great. I mean, I guess it could be great. I don't know. I just feel like short form video is so hard to convert into getting the person to do what you want them to do. Because when people get on short form video, when they're just like doom scrolling, right? They're just there purely for entertainment. It's just like a total like dopamine trap where they're just doing one after the other, and they're not really in like the most like active state of mind. So could it be good? I guess so, because I think before TikTok was like the hardest out of all of them to drive traffic from on their short form video. So I guess it's an improvement, but I don't think SEOs are going to ruin it per se. Um, I'd actually argue the entire internet is completely ruined already anyway, but I guess we'll see what happens. But it's definitely interesting. Good to know. I didn't know that. Let's see what else we got here. Um, let's see if we can answer this one. Hello, seniors. I have a question. My client has a website built on WordPress, and many articles are not SEO optimized and are already indexed in Google Search Console. Now I want to change their permalink for SEO purposes. So, what is the best and safest option to save them from duplicate errors? Should I redirect the old URL to the new one, which I would change the permalink to, or is there another option? Could you guide me on what to do and how to do it? Oh, okay, so this actually scares me a little bit whenever there's a newer SEO that wants to go around and start changing URL structure. Because, URL structure is basically how Google understands the entire internet. And if you start messing with it a lot, you can really confuse things, or you could do a lot of harm if you don't do things correctly. But what I usually do if I want to change the URL for something, I literally just delete the old page, then I create the new page, and then I do a 301 redirect of the old page to the new page. It's really not that difficult, but you are going to want to make sure you do that on all of them. Maybe there's a better way to go about this. I'm not like the super most like technical SEO type person, but I've never had any problems with this before. Essentially what you're doing is you're just showing Google that it's moved to this other URL. You're making sure that all backlinks that were sent to the old URL are going to that new URL. Um, yeah, I mean it's not necessarily super hard, but depends on like the website and how you're going about doing it and how many URLs you're changing. You could end up like you could have like a huge mess of 301 redirects. So maybe there's a better way. Maybe this is not the greatest advice, but this is what I've always done, and it's what's worked great for me. And especially when I first started SEO, because I was learning like on-page optimization, and I would get it wrong, and so I would have like the URL slug. I was like, oh, what was I doing? That's not my main keyword, or I wanted to change it to make it more optimal, and so I would change them around quite a bit, and yeah, just delete the old one, put the content change the URL, and then just throw on the old to the new. Should be all right. Oh, has some questions on here. I don't know how I missed these. Sorry, guys. Not sure why I missed these questions. For some reason, it was all highlighted, so I thought I got to the end of them. All right, I probably have time to answer these three, and then I'll have to take off after that. Do backlinks have more authority over topical authority? Thanks for the value in advance. So backlink authority and topical authority are two separate things. A little bit confusing because they both have authority in the name, right? But they're completely separate. So don't think about them as like, oh, which one has more authority? They're just completely different things. And I would say that you need to focus on both of them. Um, I would say that, I might be biased because I'm a link builder, but honestly, I don't think I'm biased. I'm not saying you need to buy backlinks from us or whatever, but I think that backlink authority is, if you're doing like your basic SEO correctly, if you're writing a decent article that people like on the subject, if you're targeting the keyword correctly, if you have your basic on-page SEO done, if you cover the topic fully, if users like that content, which is kind of like basic, very basic SEO stuff. If you're doing this stuff, I feel like backlink authority is much more powerful than topical authority. And I think the best example of this is Parasite SEO and why Parasite SEO works so well. So Parasite SEO works so well because people send emails to these domains that are like DR90, extremely high backlink authority, and they say, "Hey, can I put an article on your website?" And they say sure, and then that article just ranks at the top. Let's say they did an article about link building. For example, before Outlook India got penalized, I know that there was I can't, I don't know who it was, but there was a competitor, one of our competitors wrote an article about like buying backlinks or whatever on Outlook India, and it went straight to like page one, against all of these websites. We'd been there for years, with a lot more topical authority. We have tons of articles about link building and buying backlinks, etc. Like how much topical authority do you think Outlook India has on link building or SEO? And it's the answer is essentially none. But because it has such a strong backlink authority, they could just outrank everything. And this is just how Google's algorithm works right now. Backlink authority is just so effed up. Like they've skewed it so hard. So the authority matters so much that these large authority sites are just allowed to rank for everything and are just kind of running wild, right? Um, and even though it's good for us as a link building agency, I honestly wish it wasn't like this because I feel like it's bad for the world, like in general. I know it's weird to say that, but 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it was much easier for you to start a website on whatever, dogs, and you could be the dog expert guy. Your entire website's about dogs, right? And Google would say, oh, their website, he's like just only about dogs. He's a dog specialist. So we're going to let you rank above these high authority websites just because you're so specialized. Uh, Whereas now, they don't really care how specialized you are as much. They're going to say, hey, we're going to put Forbes in front of you. We're going to put LinkedIn Pulse in front of you. We're going to put Reddit in front of you. We're going to put Quora in front of you. We're going to put Outlook India in front of you. We're going to put all of this shit in front of you, even though none of them are experts on dogs and don't have as many articles about this specific subject as you, because their authority is so high, right? But it's just the way it is now. Hopefully it'll go back though, because I feel like their SERPs are just worse overall. So if I was Google, I would be trying to look at a way to actually go backwards because I just feel like their SERPs were better when they were like that. Get more articles from experts, right, rather than these general websites. Uh, So yeah, I would say backlinks I have more faith in than topical authority, but in the perfect world, you would do both. And I actually do both myself, you know. So, you know, I build backlinks over time and I build topical authority over time. Just make sure I'm writing a bunch of articles and make sure I'm building backlinks. So, short answer, do both, but backlinks probably more powerful. That was a very ranty answer. Ranted for a long time. Is buying a Forbes article recommended for a super hard niche parasite tactic example at 85% toughness? Yeah, so this is where Parasite SEO excels, right? You want to use Parasite SEO in the situation where everyone ranking on page one has a high authority, and you know, let's say everyone on page one is like DR 70 plus, or you know, maybe even DR 50 plus, but you're only like DR like 20 or something, and you don't want to spend the time and the money to build your backlink authority. Then absolutely, Parasite SEO is a great shortcut for that. Um, Before I did a Forbes article, I would try doing a LinkedIn Pulse article and a Medium article. I think these are the best free parasites. It's completely free. You could even write like 10 articles like on similar subjects and I'll interlink them all, or even maybe build a little bit of backlinks to them as well and see if you can rank that. Because a lot of times you can rank on page one with like Medium or LinkedIn Pulse with just like no referring domains or maybe just one or two, even some pretty competitive stuff. But it also, I think, kind of depends if someone else is already ranking up there with like a LinkedIn Pulse or a Medium article, or just like the general competition. And then if that didn't work, then maybe I'd resort to, you know, doing a paid parasite. The thing about Parasite, though, is we don't know how long it's going to last for. Uh, I don't think, you know, so we just talked about how Google prefers backlink authority so high, but so I don't think they're going to stop doing that actually. I think they're going to continue saying backlink authority is the most important thing. But I think what they're going to do is one by one, each of these parasites that gets too popular, they're going to kind of slap down, right? So you know, they already did like, you know, bye bye Outlook India, bye bye JPost or whatever else, you know, whatever all the paid parasites were, they, the ones that were super well known, they gave those a slap down, but now you see some new ones rising up, right? You see some just filling the role because it'll, Google's algorithm just says, okay, what's the next highest authority website that has an article on this subject? So it's like an infinite problem until they slap every website manually uh, that is like letting people do parasite SEO on it, or they say it's, you know, they're abusing their site reputation or whatever. But yeah, anyway, the thing is I would do the LinkedIn Pulse and the Medium articles first because they are free, and we don't know how long any of these other, like the paid parasites, are going to stay like that for. And we also know that Google hasn't rolled out the algorithmic component to the site reputation abuse update yet. Meaning right now it's only manual actions. It's only when they've gone and say, we're giving you a manual penalty for this parasite website. They're supposed to be rolling out an algorithmic component to that, which they said is going to be have very large effects. Is that true or not? I guess, you know, I don't know. Google lies all the time, so we don't really know. But they say they're going to do it. And, you know, anything that you spend money on, these parasites could be just lost one day, right? So definitely would try with the free stuff first. And I expect them to kind of give Medium and LinkedIn Pulse a slap down too, because it's not, I don't think anyone would agree that any random person writing a post on one of these platforms and building one backlink to it and ranking it is good for Google SERPs. There's just there's nothing good about that. Unless it was like a LinkedIn Pulse article with like super high and like engagement on LinkedIn, maybe, or like super, I don't know how Medium works really, but maybe if Medium has engagement as well, maybe if it had like super high engagement or like very large amounts of backlinks pointed at them, then fine. But if it's just like one backlink, one referring domain with like no engagement, like it's ranking right now, then I'd expect that stuff to go away. Hopefully, I mean, not hopefully, but maybe within the next year or so, but I guess we'll see. All right, let's keep the questions there, guys. I'll answer the ones that are on the screen, but I'm gonna have to take off after that. I gotta finish some stuff up and go to the gym. Do you think comments on blog posts can help as a social signal for Google, similar to how reviews can help products and e-commerce? Hey, well, so I don't know if you're talking about comments on your own blog posts or if you're talking about blog comments on like on someone else's post and you're using them for backlinks. If you're talking about blog comments on your own post, yeah, they can be good, but the thing is, most people have like taken the blog comment sections off of their sites because um, then you just have to moderate them. They can get kind of like out of control, and you have to turn like post approval, or people are just going to spam them. Um, and then as far as like SEO goes, they can start like, taking your keyword ratios like kind of out of whack, right? Because people start talking about whatever else. So you no longer have this perfectly crafted SEO article. You now have an article with a bunch of other words that are added in by other users on there. Um, so, now that, okay, so yeah, he's talking about comments on your own blog post. What I would do, is like everyone else is just go look at some of the top rankers in your niche and say, and just look at the blog post that you're trying to outrank them for and say, do they have blog comments on or not? And then I would do what they're doing. If they have blog comments off, I would do that. And I know there was, once Google made like Reddit and this user generated content more powerful or rank better. I know a lot of people were toying with the idea of I'm going to enable blog comments on my website again because a lot of people just took it off because thought it was no, it's just it created more of a problem than not a problem. But I think the consensus is still pretty much just leave blog comments off. It's not really something that I see many people doing at all. But maybe I'm out of the loop. But I do look at the SERPs quite a bit, so. My rank and rent is stuck on page two. Will a PBM plus local business schema do the trick? Nobody can tell you that, man. It's going to depend on your competition. So, what if you're a rank and rent for like a lawyer or something, and everyone on page one is like DR 50 plus, and then you're DR zero with like, 10 referring domains. Is one PBN and local schema going to do the trick? Absolutely not. It's not going to do shit. You're going to be on page two forever. But if you're in a super low competition niche and the websites you're competing against don't really have much link building, then sure, it could do the trick. But I would say, you know, if you're asking this question, I would stay away from the PBN. I would highly recommend not, well, you are doing a rank and rent, so it is your own project, so you don't really have to worry about if you get a penalty or whatever. But I really like to advise newer people to SEO to stay away from PBNs. Even though I didn't. Actually, I got started with PBNs really early on. It's actually one of the things I really liked. But they were also like a lot more like widespread at that time, and they worked. I feel like they were a lot easier to get working. So yeah, you could use the PBN if you want. I would just say go slow and try to be natural with it. Don't spam things out. As far as local business schema goes, you could do that. That's not going to take much time. I guess you could spend like 5 minutes doing it. That'd probably take like 5 minutes to do that. So I guess it's kind of like a why not? But schema is actually something that I don't care about at all. I have very minimal schema or zero schema on all the sites that I rank, and I every time that I've like spent time to do schema, it's just been like, okay, nothing's happened. Great. I just wasted a bunch of time doing a bunch of crap that Google doesn't care about. Um, and I feel like also over time schema is going to get more useless because Google will just be better at understanding things. And schema is like, oh, you're just kind of trying to spoon feed Google information. And also, there was an article recently by Cyrus Shepard, who is a very well-known SEO. He's one of the speakers at the last Chiang Mai SEO as well. And one of the things he found is that websites that had more schema were actually more likely to get hit in the most recent updates. And his thought processes behind that is that the only people doing schema are SEOs. There's no just blogger or business owner who's like, I need schema. No one knows about schema. It's kind of this technical SEO thing, right? So maybe they're trying to like penalize people for doing too much SEO. I don't really know, but stay away from schema. I mean, you could do the super minimum, like the bare minimum. I don't think it's going to help you very much. For your rank and rent, I'd build citations, maybe do a little bit of link building that could be like a PBN or it could build, be some stuff like link insertions or guest post. Don't go too crazy. Just build them to your homepage, natural anchor text. I'm guessing if you have a rank and rent, you do not have a GMB. If you do have a GMB, that could help things out for sure. Um, try to get some reviews and stuff like that to your GMB. Um, yeah, I mean, hard to tell you without really seeing things. Hopefully that helps though. Is it worth getting a guest post link from a DR7 website, or should we not even bother to contact them? No, sure, contact them. Tell them, yeah, I'll give you $5. Seriously. Say I'll give you, 10 bucks. It just depends like they're gonna charge you for it if they're gonna charge you, right? Um, but generally when people do link building, generally anything under DR20 is considered like pretty dang low authority because it's really easy to get DR20. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can just get DR20 by doing like some like directories, like like your foundational link building, like stuff that you don't even have to pay for. I think you can get up to DR10 or 20 quite easily. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's not saying that anything under DR20 doesn't matter because number one, this is an Ahrefs metric, it's not a Google metric. So if the website is relevant and it hasn't been like penalized or something, I mean, penalty wouldn't, I don't think, make the DR go down though. But anyway, as long as it's like a healthy website and it's relevant or, it's in like a shoulder niche that posts content that's kind of related to your niche or whatever, then sure, if the price is right, I wouldn't pay too much for it. I have an AI lyric helper website. I'm thinking about buying a Broadway musical site, $2,000, Forbes, Guardian, New York Times. See if he's got a follow up. And then his follow up is that close enough? So is that relevant enough? The thing with 301 redirects is there's no answer. No one can tell you that's relevant enough. I've even seen relevant domains not work. Um, I feel like 301 redirects, it's like more of like an art than a science. Like there's nothing that's going to guarantee that the 301 redirect is going to work. I've even seen people like they have their own website and they're trying to rebrand to another website, and it's like when they 301 redirect, it's like for whatever reason it's like not working. And that's just trying to basically change their domain name at that point. Um, so I've actually, I've seen much less relevant than that work before. So you're doing AI lyric helpers, which is essentially music, right? And you're doing Broadway musical site, which is also music, very general music. I've seen less relevant than that work. I've seen something like a pet's website, and you're getting, a music domain through a one into a pet's website. But the chances of it working go up a lot higher the more relevant it is. Um, hard to tell you on this one because you're talking about spending $2,000. It's not exactly cheap. Um, for me personally, hmm, that's a hard one. I don't want to give you advice on this because I don't want I don't want you to spend $2,000 and it not work. But it's a little bit of a gamble. It could definitely work. It could definitely not work. I could see it going either way, really. Yeah, hard to give you advice on that one, man. I'm sorry. Does negative SEO really work? So, actually, I'm not like the biggest expert on negative SEO, but I know when most people do negative SEO, they do really lazy, low effort negative SEO, which ends up just being like auto-generated link spam or like blog comment spam with aggressive anchors or something like that. And I would say most of the time this stuff doesn't work at all. We actually had a site where someone tried to negative SEO the site with blog comment spam, like super nasty, really spammed out. We're talking about like each blog comment was coming from a page with like thousands of blog comments on it. It's all like Viagra, whatever. Really targeted anchor text and some like really nasty anchor text as well. And I can't remember how many links they sent to the page, but it was a lot. And the page's rankings actually went up. and they didn't come back down. So it actually helped us, which was funny. Um, but there's also stuff going around. Usually, I feel like I feel like you could negative SEO someone, but the way most people do negative SEO just doesn't work. I've heard some people saying that like redirecting a penalized domain into another domain, like 301 redirect a penalized domain into a domain, can get them a penalty. Um, haven't seen it myself actually. Like I've never seen it on Ahrefs or something. Um, I know there's also a bunch of stuff going around right now, and I don't think it's even negative SEO. It's more like these scraper sites. Like I wrote an article recently on these k.html spam backlinks that are going around. You see a bunch of people talking about these things, and it looks like something Google normally should be able to ignore because they have such a easy footprint to identify. But it seems like they are taking websites down, and they just come steadily over time for like long amounts of time. So is that negative SEO? It could be, but I see this stuff everywhere. It's like, even for sites in our managed link building program at our link building agency, I would say like probably over 50% of websites have these links. So I don't think it's negative SEO. I think it's just some crazy scraper thing going. I'm not really sure what's going on. But I've had people talk about how disavowing these things actually help them. Normally we wouldn't, I would just say don't disavow because it looks like something would Google would be able to ignore. Anyway, long answer short, I think negative SEO can definitely still work. I just don't really see much of it these days. And I think when most people do negative SEO, they're not really serious about it. If I was more experienced, like in for example, like a very like black hat niche, like maybe like casino, these guys play like really dirty over there. Maybe I'd be able to give you a better answer, but I'm not really up to date on like the super advanced like black hat stuff that a lot of these guys are doing. Um, so yeah, maybe not giving the best answer on this one, but hopefully that helps. All right, it's gonna be the last question, guys. Let's see. Two quick questions. Do Google business reviews matter for ranking? And also 2 months into link building and keywords I'm targeting. Here, I'll split this up. Sir Clap, that's the last one. Don't don't ask anymore. I gotta go. Here, let me split this one up real quick. Actually, I'll just answer them together. Two quick questions. Do Google My Business reviews matter for ranking? And also 2 months into link building and keywords, I'm targeting the page is indexed but not ranking. Um, should I just keep link building? All right, so yeah, for number one, for the Google business reviews, absolutely they matter for ranking. Yeah, just get more reviews, right? You need to try to incentivize your clients to leave reviews. And you can do that in a bunch of different ways. I won't go into that now, but you can go look at some local SEO guys that do a lot more of this than me to get some good advice on that. So yeah, definitely get reviews. Um, and for the second part, 2 months into link building keywords, I'm targeting the page as index but not ranking. So it sounds like you're trying to build backlinks only to the page that you're trying to get to rank, which is not what you want to do. What you want to do is build backlinks to the entire domain and a lot to your homepage. And if you're doing this, link building is an ongoing process. If you start to get more referring domains than your competitors and you're still not outranking them, then something's wrong and maybe you're doing something else wrong somewhere. Um, but in general, yeah, just make sure you're not just hammering your one inner page with links because then you're going to just show Google something highly unnatural. Because, like, for example, let's say you're trying to rank this page, and all of your competitors have zero links going to the page, and yours has 10 or 20. Okay, you've done something highly unnatural, and you've given a page a ton of links, which is not a link-worthy target. And so you stick out from everybody as doing something highly unnatural, right? So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. Heavy homepage, natural anchor text. Don't be aggressive with the anchor text. If your website like DR and RD count gets similar to your competitors, you're not outranking them, you're gonna have to look for the problem somewhere else. For a national site with local landing pages, how should links be built? I have a few high quality links for my homepage at good prices. Should I use the same vendor for links to my landing pages? Part one, part two, let's see. Uh, I already have internal links, but have 300 location pages, so not passing enough link juice. Yeah, the strategy doesn't really change. The strategy is very similar for every single website. People try to like overcomplicate this, but it's actually really simple. Link building is actually really easy. Um, Most of your links should go to your homepage. You should have good internal linking on your website. You should be building high quality links and make sure you're building high quality links. You should use mainly natural anchor text, branded anchors, URL anchors, generic anchors. And then from there, once your website starts like ranking for some stuff and getting some traffic, you're gonna want to build some links to in this page, your location landing pages or whatever they are. We consider these like your money pages. You're definitely going to want some links to your money pages, but you're going to want to not only build links to them and not go crazy, right? Um, there's probably other pages on your websites that act as like good hub pages or good like distributors. So any page that like links out to a bunch of other pages on your website is a good target for this. So you could link to these pages as well. Another good target for links are any kind of like uh, more like viral type content, kind of like clickbaity type content that actually makes more sense to attract links. And then for your location pages, just be sure when you're doing the location pages, you go and you look at your competitors and see how many links they have going to their location pages, and how many of those links are actually quality links and not like some like scraper thing or just spam that just naturally websites get, right? Actually look into it and try to replicate that so you don't go overboard and do something unnatural by sending tons of links to these location pages. Generally, I always like going top down rather than bottom up. And a lot of people's instinct is to go bottom up. They want to do tons of links to their landing pages or their money pages and then to their like homepage or their category pages or whatever else. But in general, much rather do top down. All right, this is for real the last one. I'm ignoring it. If any more questions come after this one, I'm ignoring them. I gotta go, guys. If you have better domains I can buy for 1K, I'll buy instead of the wrong. Yeah, go look on our website, man. Just go download our domain list, and then it's an Excel file. You can use like Control F to do a find, so search for a music and see if there's anything in there that is relevant for you. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and call it there. Thanks for showing up. Hopefully, I answered your questions. We had a lot of questions come in at the end there, and hardly in the beginning. But yeah, hopefully that helps you guys. Like I said before, we got guest post on sale this month for 10% off with code GP12. So definitely check that out. It's only for 3 or 4 more days. And yeah, not sure if we'll have a live stream next week. It will depend on how many videos we get out of this one, I guess. And yeah, I'm trying to think if we got any news. Need to schedule a podcast soon. Need to find a new like podcast guy. I mean, we have got a big list, but yeah, I actually need to schedule one. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe helps us out a lot. Also, join us in our Facebook group SEO Roundtable. We're in there every day answering questions.